Okay. Okay, we have a quorum now, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And to kick things off here, do we have an introduction? Danelle, if you'd like to introduce your new staff member.
Yes, thank you. I have with us Josh Squires. He is our new transportation planner here at PPACG. He'll be working primarily on the transportation improvement program. That's our short range program where we award the funding that comes through us. And he's taking Jeff Bechtel's position. So welcome, Josh, if you'd like to say anything.
Hi, thank you, everyone, and look forward to working and getting to know everyone.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on. Has everyone, most of you are online, there's not many in the room, but we need approval of the agenda if everyone's had the opportunity to look at it.
I move approval of the agenda.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Is that one opposed or one late aye? Yes. But you got that, Jared? Okay, okay. Okay, moving on to consent items. Is there anything that we have discussion on in that area? Anything that you got? Oh, Teresa's coming in now. Okay. Everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes from last month. If so, we take a motion to approve those.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes from last meeting with a correction in item 3. Miley Foster's first name is spelled incorrectly in that section. So with that correction, I move approval.
Danelle, did you see that?
Yes, I do see that. We'll get that changed. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Do we have a second?
Tyler Peoples, I second that.
Okay, we've had a motion, a second. If there's no additional discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Jared, do you have any public comments?
Mr. Chair, we did not receive any advanced public comment, and everyone who's online is either a member of the CAC or is a member of staff of PPACG or CDOT. So I think we can move forward for public comment at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the room? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. And next item up would be the CDOT 10-year plan. Are you presenting that, or is that being presented online? Do you know, Danelle?
Just scrolling down to it. I can give a little bit of background on that, and then Jeff, if you want to unmute and take over.
I'm ready to go.
Perfect, thank you. So there's a memo in your packet from the Colorado Department of Transportation Region 2, just kind of giving you an overview of what the 10-year plan is. The funding associated with the 10-year plan, and then the proposed projects for the 10-year plan. The most recent plan was approved in 2022. The list has gone through our Transportation Advisory Committee last week here, and it also does align with our long-range transportation plan. At this point, I think, Jeff, if you want to just go through what the 10-year plan is, how that money is kind of divvied up, and just give an overview on the projects that are included, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Danelle. So hi, everybody. Jeff Guthrie. I'm your CDOT Region 2 Planning Supervisor down here in Pueblo. Apologies for not being there in person. I choose to hang out in our AC-less office instead. Getting a little warm. Region 2 is 14 counties of southeastern Colorado, just to give everybody context. And the 10-year plan is what CDOT calls its priority list of projects that we associate state strategic funding with. And so it obviously, as the name indicates, covers a 10-year period. The existing 10-year plan is 2019 through 2028, if my math is correct, right? And this new 10-year plan that we're discussing covers, as the memo says, state fiscal years 2027 through 2036. And so here at CDOT, excuse me, we break out that 10-year plan into two chunks. The first 4 years, which we have identified state funding for the projects therein, and then the last 6 years, which we refer to as our unconstrained list. There is no fiscal constraint attached to it because we simply do not yet have the projections of state revenues that could fund this that far out. Everybody also please remember for context that these funding amounts are projections based on all of the different revenue sources that CDOT funds projects with. So again, this is only state funding. This does not include any, how do I say that correctly? It does not include federal funding. It can certainly include projects that are the recipients of federal funding that we can match with state funding or local funding, obviously with state if it's on this plan. But this, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. We're just referring to the state of Colorado's strategic funding set aside by the legislature for transportation projects. So for the first 4 years of this fiscal year 27 to 36 10-year plan, those are fiscal years 27 through 30 here at the state. And the anticipated, as the memo says, the anticipated strategic funding from the state for all 14 counties of CDOT Region 2 is roughly $166 million. So please note, as I say in the next sentence, that these funding allocations are projections and they can be subject to change. All of that being said, historically, Region 2 has further allocated or sub-allocated its state distribution to its 5 different planning regions. So the Pikes Peak MPO, the Pueblo MPO, and then the 3 rural transportation planning regions around Region 2. Historically, we at Region 2 have further sub-allocated the 10-year plan distributions per a separate funding programs distribution formula we refer to as RPP, that's Regional Priorities Program. I'm full of acronyms. But that is a Transportation Commission approved distribution formula for that funding program. And with the limited guidance that we have in sub-allocating the funding within the region, region leadership chooses to follow this RPP distribution formula. And that formula, it's a complex mathematical equation that I really don't want to get into, but if you force me to, with about 7 or 8 different subcategories feeding into this based on economic categories, things like that. That formula outlines that our allocation target of 40.9, just under 41% for the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments for your metropolitan planning organization. And so again, this is state funding on state highway system projects within your region. And so furthermore, for the first 8 years of this current existing funding in the new 10-year plan. And they will be pursued, I said that incorrectly, sorry. Mountain Metro Transit and CDOT Region 2 certainly will help in any way that we can, but other funding sources will be pursued for those, whether it's state clean transit enterprise dollars, federal transit administration dollars, something along those lines. And then finally, the new projects table at the bottom of page 11 in your packet, you can see that there are, with the remaining $20 million of that $81 million allocation, there are finally only 2 projects left that we could spread that thin peanut butter amongst, and those are $18 million to the US 24H, that's CDOT nomenclature for the particular segments of highway. But resurfacing US Highway 24 from I-25 to Powers, as the project name says, and then $2 million to Powers Boulevard and Milton Proby Parkway interchange design, and that encapsulates the entire $81 million. I will take any questions now, and John, let me know if I forgot something. Thank you.
If you would, I would just add to emphasize that we believe this list continues to support the existing PPACG priorities, right? The number one next priority is US 24 East Woodman to Garrett. We are, with $51 million applied to that, putting that at the number one priority to continue to fund. The next 2 priorities on the list, South Academy to Circle, on I-25 and US 24 Ridge Road overpass. Those projects on the current 10-year list had already been reallocated of significant funding in order to keep US 24 East and a lot, as the number one priority and fully funded, and in order to fully fund Fillmore to Garden of the Gods on I-25 currently under construction, Powers and Airport currently under construction, both of which projects, inflated in cost over recent years, right, to get them advertised. So we're really keeping almost the same amount of money, but we're admittedly not fully funding South Academy to Circle still, and I-25 South Academy to Circle and I-24 Ridge Road overpass. But we're trying to position them to be good for grant applications, things like that in the future. We already applied one grant for South Academy to Circle already. We did not get accepted on it, RCP Reconnecting Communities pilot grant, but we're going to continue that process. And you can see even on the South Academy Circle, we've kind of joined up some other projects. We've separated the railroad bridge out, given that funding separately so that can kind of go on its own course too, looking for other grant opportunities that might be specific to military applications. And the one thing I would just point out too, and then we've gone and tried to start at least to lean forward a little bit on PPACG's next priority, which is the Milton Proby Interchange project. It's the next one on the list, and so it's a very mild $2 million that we're putting into that, but it's a very meaningful $2 million. Get it on the 10-year list, really get some formality where we can start to do some of the 1601 processes, TDM linkages, things like that, TDM requirements that are within our current guidelines. And look, the bottom line is we're trying that project really formally on the list too and on the radar. So that's it. Thank you.
John, I've got a question. I forgot to bring my 2022 10-year. Is the only significant changes the two that's been cut, the Metro Hub, and is that the only big changes in funding?
I would describe that as yes. I would agree with that statement, that those are the two significant changes. Again, there's
Okay.
not really even significant changes in what was already partial funding for South Academy Circle and Ridge Road. At $2 million. I think it's significant to add Milton Proby. And we are adding a project 24H, which is your MLK bypass, Fountain Boulevard. Let's just say an area of highway that is newsworthy in its condition and really needs work on too. So I mean, that's something being added to the list that I think
Okay.
is significant, but so worth mentioning.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure something didn't drop off that at the time we thought was significant to do.
No, I mean, I would agree with your characterization there. I would
Okay.
say that is correct characterization.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jeff, John? And Jared, I don't see any questions online. Is there any questions online or comments? Okay, hearing none, I guess we're ready for a motion to approve the 10-year plan as presented by Jeff and John.
Teresa Cheek at large, I'll make that motion to approve the 10-year plan as presented.
Okay, Teresa, a second.
Kathy
Maddie
Hersey Callahan.
Goldson. Sorry.
Maddie, did you second that?
I was, but I was also speaking over somebody else, so I apologize.
That's fine. Kathy said you're fine. Okay, it's been motion and second. Any additional discussion, comments? And I see none on the line. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes unanimous. Thank you, Jeff and John. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you all.
Okay, moving on to Nell, Transportation Improvement Amendment.
Yes, thank you. We do have an amendment to our fiscal year 25-29 Transportation Improvement Program. This is kind of a housekeeping item. So when we do a new transportation improvement program, we're required to do 4 years per federal requirements. What we do here at PPACG is actually do 4 years of programming and then one additional illustrative year. That's kind of for efficiency's sake. So that now in this year, instead of doing a new tip, what we do is just come back to all of our committees and say, we would like to move our illustrative 5th year, that's 2029, into an official programmed year. There's no changes in funding, no changes in projects. It's purely just a, yes, we want to make this an official year so that it's meeting the federal requirement. I'm happy, of course, to answer any questions, but no real changes to the actual tip.
So just cleaning up the book, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? If not, we'd like to get a motion at this time to pass that for the Transportation Improvement Program. I lost my thought there.
Kathy Heisey Callahan, I move recommendation to move the year into an actual part of the plan. Or
Trustee
however that's
Waldfeller
appropriately
Springs.
worded.
I second Kathy's motion.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That also passes. And Danelle, one more CAC membership.
Yes, we do have 2 at-large positions open. We held a meeting of the nomination subcommittee earlier this month to discuss the applicants that we had. And sorry, I lost my words. The nomination subcommittee chose 2 selected applicants as well as an alternate. Right now, we also know that El Paso County is going through the appointment process as well. And we believe, we know at least one of the members had applied to both our at-large process and the El Paso County process. So we also chose an alternate to be recommended in the case that one of the selected applicants was appointed first by El Paso County. And I believe we will know that for sure on July 8th at the appointment at the El Paso County Commissioners meeting. At this time, I would love if one of our nomination subcommittee members would like to discuss our applicants and the process. For everybody's awareness, Steve Schleicher and Kevin Clark were the selected applicants, with Chuck Borman as the alternate. Kathy or Tyler or Maddie, if she's online, would you like to speak to those individuals?
You speak.
I'll be glad to lead off, and then if the other 2 members of the committee want to chime in at any point or afterwards or wherever you're comfortable. For me, going into the nominating committee process, I look at things like the current makeup of our committee. We have a variety of backgrounds. We have some backgrounds that we have multiple people that are representatives on this committee that come from a similar background. I think that variety is good to have, to be looking at community things from different perspectives, and understand how things can impact their part of the community, or from their history, how they look at things. I also look at it from a perspective that this committee functions as part of a process. We don't initiate new things. We have the ability and the privilege to look at items that are coming through the process that in most cases will follow through and come to fruition. And it's a privilege to be able to weigh in on how that affects our specific communities and the area at large. I look for people that appear to have a desire to positively impact our community. I appreciate an efficient meeting, so I try to select for nomination others that I feel like are going to invest the time to prepare for the meetings. We've had members that have a heart to initiate or affect change, for their given cause. That it's a good thing. We need people that are passionate about whatever their cause is. But given that we don't initiate any activities here, I try to weigh that as well, that we're getting people in the right position. That said, I'm going to just go through the applications that we went over. We started, the three of us, with our top 3 or 4 after we had reviewed. And all of us agreed on the top 2 of Steve Schleicher with experience as mortgage and credit manager, appraiser, assessor. He's a decorated Marine. He's a current elected, not otherwise eligible to serve on the executive board. And he has other community service. Kevin Clark is a business owner. He's got experience with school board, police foundation, and there's several volunteer positions. His background is intelligence analyst with the Air Force, and in related field in the private sector after that. Both of those candidates bring something to the table that we don't currently have, or that enhance what we have on the committee already. The alternate that we selected, Chuck Broerman, has a background in manufacturing and engineering, which we don't, to my knowledge, we don't have at all. And I feel like that would be a good addition to this group. He's got a ton of volunteer service over the years. He is also currently in elected office, not eligible to serve on the executive board. We also looked at Craig Blewett. All of the applications were considered. Craig Blewett has background with Colorado Springs as a planner, a planning manager, transit director. He did serve on the TAC previously. He has some volunteer positions in the community. In his case, I felt like we have multiple members that are associated either currently or prior with City of Colorado Springs. And if we're looking for a variety of perspectives, I didn't feel like he ticked that box for me. Tricia Davenport, self-employed. She does work with Juvenile Task Force, and it indicates she's an advocate there. I'm not sure that that I saw a lot in her resume that made me feel like she would be a good fit for this board. And then Charles Wingate was our other candidate, currently self-employed. He does have prior city council experience and stockbroker. There's some history there in his case that I'm uncomfortable with, and don't feel like I could support that candidate.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Tyler, you want to add anything?
I would say thank you to Kathy for that. That was a very detailed run through, and I think we all felt very similarly. What a rich pool of talent in that group, and it was great to look at everyone's resume and see how so many different people were interested in participating, and it was a good process. It was a fair process. We did look at everybody carefully, and we had thoughtful discussion. So I think that's all I have to add.
Thank you. And Maddie, if you can hear online, do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add to any of his comments. Thank you, Kathy, for providing such a thorough overview, and excited to get some more members added.
Okay, well, I want to thank the three of you for what you did, and Danelle, I'm sure you spent time with them. Only a little. Okay, well, thank you too. So at this time, what we do is entertain a motion, and I would say in the motion, in this case, was it Mr. Clark, I believe, that's applied for both?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay, and the motion, I think we need to say that based on what the county does, move the three of these forward, knowing that only two of them will actually be appointed from here, if that makes sense.
Yes, please.
So at
Would
this,
would it be better given that level of complexity? I'm sorry, this is Chuck Theobald,
yes,
Colorado
Chuck,
Springs, to vote individually rather than to have one motion for all three?
that's up to you all. Any other comments on that, or is that I'm not hearing any, Chuck, so I think everyone's comfortable voting at all three at this time.
Right.
Okay. So at this time, if I could get a motion, and then Teresa, are you nodding your head over there?
Sure, I'll give it a shot, but I may need a little help. So I would just like to propose a motion that we would take these three candidates that have been selected by the committee, which are Steve Schleicher, Kevin Clark, and Chuck Broerman, and advance them with the understanding that Kevin Clark may end up being appointed by the county instead, in which case I think we would put Chuck Broerman.
Sounds fine to me. Who's keeping notes? You or Jared? Jared, did you get that? Okay. Hearing the motion, do we have a second?
I second that.
And that's
Tyler Peoples.
Tyler People second. Any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye for advancement to the board.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this will be presented to the board when. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. And
Yeah.
thank you for the nomination subcommittee for taking that extra time to review all of these resumes and applications and providing your guidance to the committee.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I see no information items. Did anything pop up after this was printed? Any information, Tyler, here? Okay, one thing I will point out, the El Paso County Fair is coming up the 18th of July. If you all can get after that, you might want to attend that. And any other member announcements? Any online? Okay, I'm seeing none. Meeting schedule next month as usual. Okay. No additional comments or anything. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.